Today's show is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, baby. We're talking about the top-rated sports booking app in all of North America, baby. Safe, secure, and my favorite, reliable. And we know NFL season is back in full effect, and we got action every single week with all of our favorite teams, favorite players, and what better way to add to the watching experience than by, putting a little bit of yourself into the game. And the best way to do that is with your promo codes, baby, which you already know we got to talk about. And the promo code is Moats for the new people out there. When you download that app, the beautiful DraftKings Sportsbook app, and you make your first initial bet of $5, use the promo code Moats. You will get $200 back instantly. It is an awesome situation for you and gives you a nice head start into all of the potential fun and potential, what we like to call success. So with that being the case, you see what time we are on. You know what this is, but I also understand at times you might get lost in the sauce. You might develop a gambling problem. If you live in New York, it's a number that you could text. But for everybody else, the digits to dial are 1-800-GAMBLER. Shout out to the homie Fear and Bradford. He says, do you think 77 Broderick Jones could start at guard in the future? It's a lot easier to play guard, so sure. I don't see why a guy couldn't transition into that. Most of the time, though, if you're a tackle, you want to stay at the tackle spot. That's typically how you want to do it, man. You don't start moving dudes around in terms of guard unless you feel like, this is an absolute lost cause. Now, I know some people feel like that, and, shout out to those people. But football, I know the black gold Steelers, like brass, they not even, nah. But the context with that is this, though, man. The bad plays that Broderick had was matchup related. Will McDonald and Quentin Williams. That's what those dudes internally are going to be looking at and identifying. And it's still not an excuse for, not perfect play, but that context matters. And I think when you're talking about making roster moves, okay, because 77 is the starting left tackle. So when you talk about making a move to guard, the question then becomes, who are you placing out there for him that you feel like will do the same or better? Because that's been the argument, right? When it was Dan Moore, we felt like that. Well, some people felt like that wasn't good enough, and we were trying to replace that, right? And it was like, well, hey, man, if it's a first rounder, replace it. If this guy gets paid more, you just replace it. All right, cool. So now we see Broderick, and after one game at left tackle in the regular season, where versus two really good players, one player is an all-pro, one player is going to be a pro bowler, right? Will McDonald, 10.5 sacks last year. He'll probably do 10 again this year. We look at that and we say, hey, man, them two bad snaps, hey, this ain't going to cut it. So now we want to pull the plug on that. And it's like, well, do we go to Spencer Anderson? Is it Calvin Anderson? Is it Andres Pete? Like, that's the questions that I, send back to you, because to me, he's our best option right now. And also to me, he's not going to be playing against Will McDonald and Quentin Williams every week. Look at him when he had Michael Clemens. You look at him versus Jermaine Johnson, and you saw a totally different version of him pass blocking, a totally different version of him run blocking. Some players at this level are nice. Do we fault or do we say a left tackle or a right tackle is trash if Alex Highsmith beats him or if TJ Watt beats him? Nah, we say, TJ Watt is the best edge rusher in the NFL. We say Highsmith is one of the best number 2 passers in the NFL, and we chalk it up to that. But we don't always return that same level of grace when it pertains to our offense. It's like, man, if Michael Clemens beat Broderick twice last week for sacks, I'm with you, man. Let's talk. Should we put him at guard? Let's talk. Should we move him around? Let's talk. But we talking about Will McDonald, who had 10.5 sacks and has done dudes that are pro bowlers and flirting with being all pros the same way. Quentin Williams, he got a laundry list of bodies, pass game and run game. Heck, he was a big part of the reason why our run game or run offense struggled, because of what he was doing to the interior part of our offense. So certain things I will say, man, I don't think necessarily promote this type of reaction from my perspective. I do think that it is something that we should be obviously paying attention to because, yeah, when you give up a sack, it doesn't matter who you're giving up against. A sack is a sack. Quarterback gets hit, and especially when it's Aaron Rodgers, you don't want any of that. But at the same time, when we make moves, you have to understand that there is a chain reaction. Every action has a reaction. So you pull Broderick out that tackle spot because of those two plays. Now we're looking and we're saying, okay, how do these other guys potentially match up going forward? And those are the things that me personally, and I know the organization, they're just not in a hurry to get the answers to that just yet. They want to see if this Broderick situation is kind of what me and a lot of them dudes kind of think it is, where it's like, yo, young player, but definitely played a lot better at left tackle in this first game than he did at right tackle a lot of times where he's been over there. So that's kind of the approach. I know it isn't the answer that everybody wants. I know it's not as sexy or it's not as fire and brimstone, you know what I mean, as people may want, but that's just the reality of it. And that's why you didn't hear Coach Tomlin come up here and say, yeah, man, we about to fire Broderick, man. We're working on left tackles this week. You didn't hear none of that. No, because they looked at it, it was like, yo, two bad matchups. One, he holding the ball a little bit long. Cool. We could work with this, though. All things considered. And there's also, you look at Arthur Smith. You say, Arthur Smith, you're not Matt Canada. You know what you're doing, right? You're proven you've had success at this level. Continue to build out a plan where you continue to utilize pocket movement, play action pass, tight ends on Broderick's side, right? Ghost motions, pre-snap shifts and movement just to slow down that pass rush. Thoughtfully integrating screens and draws. Those are the things that we look at the coordinator. We say, yo, it's on you. This is what you got to do to help your personnel, because you don't have just this laundry list of, oh, yeah, we're just going to replace him with Trent Williams. Where is he at? You know, where is that guy at right now? That's going to help us. I haven't seen that dude. Get him off the street. Where? Who? Where is he? So until you find that, you got to figure out how to maximize what you have. And that's where you look at the coach part and you say, okay, you might feel like you have a piece that isn't playing consistent enough, but he has more than enough athleticism and talent. Let's find out what Pat Meyer can continue to do with him. He's been improving, though, and that's the crazy part about it. People don't want to like it or acknowledge it because it's not the improvement to the extent that they feel it should be. But from a league standpoint, it's like, yo, you're doing what you need to do right now, man. It's your first starter left tackle in the NFL, man. That preseason, throw that preseason out the window. We talk about real life ball. That was your first start. You handled everybody but Will McDonald and Quentin Williams on two of them plays. I could live with that, man. So we'll see what he does with this week, man. Should be a way better matchup for him, though, right? And we'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow as well, man. Super excited. But shout out to the homie Farron Bradford, man. Always good to have you in the building, man.